Hello everyone. Today we're going to continue with the 8th grade unit solving equations with one unknown. And we're going to cover the two skills equations with parentheses and then equations with parentheses with decimals and fractions. So let's go to equations with parentheses. We're going to do 4 problems from this unit. So taking a look at this first example, notice that we have parentheses, hence equations with parentheses. So the first thing you're going to want to do is your distribution step. So I'm going to leave 9g the same as it is, and then I'm going to distribute my 3. 3 times negative 4 is negative 12, and 3 times 5g is 15g. Now, remember, you want to try to keep your variables positive, but you're not going to be able to do that in every situation. I have a 9g on the left and a 15g on the right. So if I were to subtract 9g on both sides, that's going to leave me with 0 on the left-hand side, which is just adding extra steps. So the easiest thing to do here is subtract 15g. What we do to one side, we do to the other. 9g minus 15g is going to leave me with a negative 6g. I still have negative 12 on the right-hand side. And then my last step is to just divide through by negative 6. And that's going to leave me with g equals, I've got a negative divided by a negative, which is a positive, and 12 divided by 6 is 2. So g is going to equal 2. And remember, you can always go ahead and plug it back in just to make sure it works. 9 times 2 over here is 18. Let's just write that down. 5 times 2 is 10. Negative 4 plus 10 is 6. And 3 times 6 is also 18. So as you can see, my answer did work. Okay, here we're going to distribute again. Now remember, the subtraction sign in front is also telling me that my 2 is a negative. So we're going to distribute a negative 2 there. So that's going to leave me with 3. Negative 2 times b is negative 2b. And then negative 2 times negative 2 is a positive 4. And everything on the right-hand side stays the same. We're going to combine like terms. I've got a positive 3 and a positive 4, which leaves me with a positive 7. And then now to keep my variable positive, I'm going to add 7b on both sides. It's going to cancel on the right. That leaves me with 5b plus 7 equals 2. Now we just have a two-step equation. We're going to eliminate our constant. That leaves me with 5b equals 2 minus 7 is negative 5. And then we're going to divide through by 5. And that leaves me with b equals negative 5 divided by a positive 5 is negative 1. Okay, let's try another example. Okay, again, we're distributing. I've got 3k on the left. That's going to stay the same. Negative 2 times 7 is negative 14. And then negative 2 times positive 2k is negative 4k. In order to keep my variable positive, let's add 4k on both sides. It's going to cancel there. That leaves me with 7k equals negative 14. And then we're just going to divide through by 7. And that leaves us with k equals negative 14 divided by 7 is negative 2. Let's do one last one from this skill. Again, we're distributing. 7 times 2e is 14e. 7 times negative 1 is negative 7. Minus 3 stays equals 6 plus 6e. Let's combine like terms. We've got a negative 7 and a negative 3, which leaves us with negative 10. And then now to keep the variable positive, let's subtract 6e here. It's going to cancel. 14e minus 6e is 8e. Minus 10 equals 6. And now we're left with just a two-step equation that we can just solve. That leaves me with 8e on the left equals 16. And then our last step is to divide through by the coefficient, leaving us with e equals 2. So let's move on to some with fractions and decimals in them. In this first example, we're distributing a 10. Now remember, when you multiply through by a power of 10, you're simply just scooping your decimal one place to the right. So 10 times 0.4 is just going to be 4. And then 10 times 0.5g is just going to be 5g. Okay, again, the easiest thing to do for this problem, if I subtract 4g on both sides, it's going to leave me with 0, which is adding extra steps. So we're going to instead subtract 5g on both sides. It's going to leave me with a negative 1g. Remember, we can't have negative variables, so to get our variable positive, we simply just divide through by that negative 1, and that makes my variable positive. And then 4 divided by negative 1 is negative 4. So g is going to equal negative 4. Let's try another one. Here we're distributing 0.75, which is also 3/4. So 0.75 times 8, well, 3/4 of 8 is 6b, plus 3/4 of 4 is 3, minus 1 equals 4b plus 14. Let's combine like terms. I've got a positive 3 and a negative 1, which leaves me with a positive 2. Now to keep my variable positive, I'm going to subtract 4b on both sides. 6b minus 4b is 2b. Next step, we're going to subtract 2 on both sides. That leaves us with 2b equals 12. And then our last step is to divide through by the coefficient, which gives us b equals 6 as our answer. Okay, here we're distributing 0.5. 0.5 times 5 is going to give us 2.5, minus 0.5 times 7x is going to leave us with 3.5x equals 8. Don't forget, now I'm distributing a negative. So negative times 4x is negative 4x. And a negative times a positive 6 is a negative 6. I can combine 8 and negative 6. So the left-hand side stays the same. And an 8 and a negative 6 leaves me with a positive 2. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add 4x on both sides. It's going to cancel here. Notice I added the decimal and the 0. Different signs, so we're going to subtract these. That's going to leave me with a positive 0.5x. Next step, we're going to subtract our constant, which is 2.5. I'm actually going to add a decimal and a 0 there as well. So 2 minus 2.5 is going to leave us with a negative 0.5. And that means we have 0.5x equals negative 0.5. And I'm going to divide through by my coefficient. I've got a negative divided by a positive, which gives me a negative, and any number divided by itself is simply just 1. So x equals negative 1. Okay, here we've got to distribute a 7. So I'm going to keep 3h on the left-hand side as it is. And just watch what I do here. 7 times 2 sevens is going to give me 14 sevenths. Minus 7 times 3 sevenths is going to give me 21 sevenths h. And then we've got minus 10 still there outside of the parentheses. Well, 14 minus 7 is 2. Let's keep the 3h on the left. And 21 divided by 7 is 3. So we can actually simplify those fractions right there. Combine like terms. We've got a 2 and a negative 10, which is going to leave me with negative 3h minus 8, because a positive 2 and a negative 10 we subtract. And we have more negatives than positives. And now to get my variable positive, I'm going to add 3h on both sides. 3h plus 3h is 6h. And my last step is to divide through by my coefficient, leaving us with h equals a negative. I can simplify my fraction. They're both divisible by 2. which leaves me with h equals negative 4/3. Okay, so that does it for those two skills. The correlating note-taking packet pages are pages 4 through 7, top of the page. And again, if you'd like to see some additional examples, you can watch the videos in Khan Academy. Have a great day, everyone.